Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the men's room.
Hey, there we go. Welcome to show number 2,819. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, Robin Fox, and Mike Hawk.
Montgomery!
That's you. All right, in the men's room. On tap today, here come the bad jokes, bitcholas. The return of Ted versus the FCC. Get ready to play Profile This. Plus headlines, men's room shot of the day, fun listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted.
Click, clack, drink it, get drunk.
All right, here we go. Connecticut 3-year-old falls out a 5-story window and lands safely in a pile of mulch. Turns out very few stories today about something happening in a gulch, which is the only word that rhymes with mulch, and it's a valley with running water. Philadelphia airport worker gets all stabby with coworker who is now dead. Vancouver man buys lottery ticket on retirement day, and now he's rolling in the bread. And a woman donates her egg 20 years ago in college. Meets real egg person today. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. Just the name Hawaii, right? Series of beautiful islands made for relaxing. Unless a volcano erupts and sends lava cascading into your neighborhood. That's what happened on the Big Island. The governor there actually declared a state of emergency, and there's been a mandatory evacuation of at least this one neighborhood. And it's an emergency evacuation because it's a massive one because, again, a volcano is sending lava into the town. Meanwhile, in India, a much smaller but no less critical emergency arose when a man was mauled by a bear. Now, in his case, he tried to get a selfie with a wounded bear, but instead, he ended up being videoed being killed by said bear. And people did try to help, but their help only made the bear angrier. Bad day for that guy. And it gets worse from there, believe me. Southwest Airlines, they know a thing or two about emergencies. Twice in the last few weeks, a Southwest plane has had to make an emergency landing because a plane window cracked. You might remember in one circumstance, a woman actually died when she was sucked halfway out. Now, one thing that all emergencies share in common is that they suck. Period. They're unexpected and they require our immediate attention. So today, this is what we want to know. What was the emergency situation?
Be part of the big show. Call 844-999-OLA. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter at Men's Room Live and send those emails to the Men's Room at mensroomlive.com. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Hold the shoulders and away we go. Welcome to show number 2,819. What a large and a charged program we have for you today. The exciting return of Ted versus the FCC as Ted tries to get another win into the win column. The drunken charge will be in with the bad jokes as Ryan Castle will be in to kick off the bad jokes right before we drink and toast with the shot of the day and another round of Profile This. That is all coming up. And today we're going to talk about emergency situations. And one thing we know for a fact, as far as emergency situations go, you are never really prepared. You might be physically prepared, but you're never ready. You never know when an emergency situation is going to happen. You don't know when you're driving home that day what possibly that you might get into a car wreck, or when you go to the airport that day, or whether the weather is going to involve an event that day. Sometimes that's more predictable than not, depending on the situation. But
you're still not, if it's an emergency, you're not prepared.
Sure. If it's a tornado, you might have 5 minutes. If it's a hurricane, you might have 5 days. Either way, it's an emergency situation. And if you've been involved with one, whether it's a medical emergency situation or you were just at the scene when something happened, there was an emergency situation, whether you were the person who was injured or whether you were the person who either attempted to or wanted to try to help.
Or more importantly, you were the person who videotaped the entire thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the bear tag.
Or
I could have tried to help, but really, for posterity's sake, I will be your videographer. Hopefully someone else will try to help.
No more beautiful state than Hawaii. Nearly 1,500 people fled from their mountainside homes after Hawaii's Kilauea volcano sent molten lava chewing through forests and bubbling up on paved streets in an eruption that one resident described as a curtain of fire.
Jeez.
Now, the lava was bubbling up through the street. I don't know if you've ever seen how hot some of the roads do get. There's a couple roads, one in Maui that goes over an actual lava flow if you're in the national park.
Right.
And you can see the road kind of bubbles. This is not what happened. The lava came through the road and was spewing up. The images of this are crazy. Residents described it as a curtain of fire.
Did you say in crazy?
I said the residents described it as crazy.
I thought you said like you want to say insane, but went with crazy.
Sorry.
I just thought I heard in crazy. I'm like, that's
a curtain of fire. It was incredulous. After a week of earthquakes and warnings that an eruption could be imminent, the lava poured out of a crack in the community of oh boy,
you're on your own.
Yeah, thank you. I'm on an island. Lalani Estates near the town of Pahoa.
Is it Lalani?
Lalani? Yeah, maybe. I don't know much about the Big Island. Television footage showed lava spurting into the sky from a crack in the road. Video from an aerial drone showed a line of lava snaking through a forest. The activity continued early Friday with reports of eruptions from volcanic vents on 2 different streets. It sounded like if you were to put a bunch of rocks into a dryer and turn it on as high as you could. You could just smell sulfur and burning trees and there were no immediate reports of injuries, but at least 100 people were staying in shelters, and many more evacuees believed to be relatives and friends. And this thing is still spewing, and the story will be updated, and it's still continuing.
Scary. When you describe it as a curtain of fire, at first, like most people don't talk like that. It sounds like we went to Skull Island, or Kong lives, like curtain of fire. But if that's what you have to say to describe it, that's scary.
Yeah.
And you said it erupted through the street and started spewing into the sky.
It was.
That's not right. That's not how anyone pictures it, man.
There's volcanic activity all the time in Hawaii. This is way up and beyond the normal volcanic activity.
Yes. When lava spews from the street, it's above the normal.
The lava went through a subdivision where vapor is emerging from cracks. Excuse me. Witnesses say they saw fountains of lava rising above 150 feet from a crack in the volcano. Emergency shelters have been opened, and now 1,700 people have been affected by the evacuation order. And the eruption, of course, the trembles have been going on for several days. I guess around 2.0 magnitude. I guess the most severe was a 5.0 magnitude earthquake Thursday morning from the U.S. Geological Survey. So the main one was Thursday, and then there have been trembles ever since then.
Wait, just by the way, the comments are coming in.
As far as how we're butchering up the terms of this.
No, not that at all. People agree with me. You did, in fact, say in crazy.
I might have said it.
People said you heard right, Thrill, in crazy. Miles is in crazy. He did say in crazy.
I'm incredulous.
In crazy, the combination of incredible and crazy. Yeah, so you created a word.
Beauty.
Congratulations.
Put that in there. Put that in the dictionary. Smoke it. What was the emergency situation? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Corey. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola!
Hola!
So my emergency was, had a friend over one night, years back when I lived in Virginia. Both of our girlfriends worked at the same restaurant in the downtown area. So we were at my place. And
what
we had
city?
A couple beers.
Wait. What city did you live in Virginia?
Charlottesville.
Charlottesville? What was the name of the restaurant? Whitey's?
S Cafe.
Okay.
What did you say was?
Whitey's.
Oh, yeah, basically. Yeah. Actually, it was a gay bar. It was the only gay bar in town.
Okay.
Anyways, so we were headed out to pick them up after their shift at work. So it was, late at night. I'd had a couple beers, and my buddy was driving. So we leave our house, and right across the street, we noticed the house is on fire. So I yell at my buddy, I say, hey, call 911, and I ran over, knocked on the door. I was not really an elderly couple that lived there, but they were older, probably 60s or so.
All right.
Got them awake, got inside, helped the lady out, woke the guy up, and turned out that it was a curtain that had gotten too close to a heating unit.
How big was the fire at the point when you guys were going by?
I went inside, and it was floor to ceiling in the room that it had caught fire. It wasn't the whole room, but the curtain was fully engulfed.
Well, curtains have come up a couple times today, and it seems like once the curtains catch on fire, then the situation gets gets intense. Dead serious, man.
Totally,
it gets crazy. It gets crazy at that point.
Yeah, I stayed inside and helped out until a light bulb exploded, and then I was like, all right, I got to get out of here.
Jeez, man.
Do you remember when we had we had Ozzy in, and Ozzy had just got. The time we had him in, which this was a good icebreaker because we're nervous to interview Ozzy, but he just right before this, his house had caught on fire. Not funny, but his house had caught on fire by the fact that Sharon was putting all these candles out in their living room, and we're talking huge ass. I mean, I don't know how
called
big,
what the Prince of Darkness or whatever the
candlesticks were 3 or 4 feet off the ground, and the candles were huge. It looked like an opera type situation, candelabra type thing, but just candles everywhere and huge flowing curtains. And Ozzy sat down and we said, "Hey man, what was up with the fire?" And he said, "Well, I told you." And I said, "These freaking candles, man." He said, "One night you're going to catch the whole place on fire." And I told her. And then, of course, she catches the place on fire. And that's what happened. One of the curtains blew in and hit this candle, man, and the whole living room went up in flames.
I'm just trying to picture Ozzy
and
moving
Ozzy's
fast.
trying to beat out the freaking out the curtains, and he's telling the story, and you can just see him getting pissed.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he is in the moment. Yeah. What was the emergency situation? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Rachel. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So I want to start out by saying I'm from Tennessee.
Okay.
Which deer hunting is a huge thing down there, and I was in Manchester at the time.
Manchester, Tennessee?
My dad and I went to go check on a deer stand.
Okay.
Well, it was one of the tree stands that have a ladder on it, and someone had tried to steal it. So we decided to take it out, and not thinking, we hooked it up to the back of a four-wheeler and dragged it off. Well, we hit a bump, and it hit the back of my head.
Oh, you mean it popped up and snapped back?
Yeah.
All right.
It hit the back of my head while I was on the four-wheeler.
And let me guess, since it's Tennessee, you're not wearing a helmet.
No.
Correct.
Not at all. And so it cracked open my head pretty good.
Sounds like it.
And my dad actually has this thing about blood. He passes out.
Oh, no.
Normal for some people.
No, your dad didn't help you? I just made a terrible joke. I was hoping at least someone came to your rescue.
No, actually, no. I had to come to my own rescue. My mom was down in where we live in Murfreesboro, which is about an hour away. And the closest hospital was actually the worst hospital to go to because even if you're bleeding to death, they won't take care of you.
I'm from West Virginia. I understand. You don't have to explain it to us.
So we had to go all the way back to Murfreesboro, which is where I'm from, which is an hour away. And I actually had to drive myself back unlicensed.
Wait, how old were you at the time?
Yeah.
This was my freshman year of high school, so I was like 15.
Yeah, but you know enough. I know it sounds ridiculous that you have to drive yourself to the hospital, but I know you can drive yourself to the hospital. You probably could have when you were 13.
Yeah, I probably could have at 13, but I was 15 at the time. I was holding a towel to the back of my head.
Where's your dad at again?
Dad's passed out.
He's passed out.
Where? Did you leave him there, or did he make it to the car?
I got him back to the car, and I had to actually help him.
Wait.
So he passed out by the side of the blood.
Wait a minute. You had your head split open, and you had to help.
He passed out, and I actually somehow managed the strength to get myself back.
So who would? So you just dragged your dad? You threw him over the four-wheeler and drove him to the road?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you dragged his
ass in the car, and then you drove to the hospital?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure you're very self-sufficient. So what happened when you got to the hospital? Was both your dad and yourself admitted? Oh, no, you said what, they rejected you?
No, we actually had to drive an hour away to get to the best hospital that we could.
Okay. And on the way, did your dad wake up on the way?
He woke up and then he passed back out.
Okay, all right, this is not good. So, okay.
Wait, and he's doing this for an hour.
So we both got admitted, and my mom comes into the hospital freaking out because my dad wasn't answering her.
Right.
And she was like, are my husband and my daughter here, like, just in case. And they're like, what's your husband's and your daughter's names? And
oh, God. Like, because they've got another husband-daughter combo.
Right.
Both admitted to that hospital.
Right.
I mean, come on. There's only been like 5 people who've walked in all frickin' day.
And they're like, if they bring her back, and I've got my head split wide open. Dad's sitting in the next room.
There's nothing wrong with that man. There is nothing wrong with him.
He's like, what the heck happened? And they're like, your daughter is fine. And he's like, crap.
Well, yeah.
And my mom's just sitting here. She's freaking out. What the hell happened? Whatever.
Well, did you have to get stitches? Like, what was the total damage? I mean, other than what we can hear.
I actually ended up having to get staples in my head.
Okay. And who steals another person's tree stand? Like, you went there, you took the time, you found the location, you put it up there. It was one of the metal ones.
Exactly.
It was one of the metal ones where you clip on with like a seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. And it's pretty big.
If not, go up and build a wood one. Like, if it's a permanent location at your property, you can make your own tree stand. But if you're kind of moving around, like, don't steal someone's tree stand. They put it out there like 2 to 3 days ahead of time.
Rachel, let me ask you this. What do you do for a living now?
I'm
an assassin.
I actually have my own business.
Okay.
I believe that.
The tenacity would work well for that.
Yeah.
And what do you do? Give yourself a free plug there. Unless you're on escorts.
I market for Legal Shield.
Okay.
It's an app. It gives you pretty cheap legal services.
On an app. Okay, very good. Well, okay, congratulations on being alive.
Damn.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it.
Tell your father to get it together,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
Look, there's a lot of things you don't
sounds
like.
like the Mar-a-Lago story. I saw the blood and I left.
Right. I mean, but like, there's certain things like just, look, as a parent, man, the thing I hate most is boogers. Other people's boogers, they disturb me greatly. I cannot explain it, but it is something that I'm not okay with, man. Don't leave your booger in the urinal. Don't wipe it on the wall. Boogers, I struggle with. And then you have kids, and guess what? Guess what I've been covered in? Boogers. I don't like it. I hate it. It skeeves me out, but you deal with it, man.
I think that's more of a condition. I think it's a condition.
Your kid is.
I know, but I don't think it would have mattered.
You rally?
It could have been his dad. It could have been his mom. I don't really think circumstantially it would have mattered who it was.
But your kid,
he still would have passed out. It could be somebody who's like his hunting buddy. Same thing. I really think he would have passed out.
What if the kid is 4? You think he pulls it together?
I think he sees blood, he passes out.
His kid was at least old enough to drag his hairy ass and herself
I'm
back
telling
to
you,
a
man.
car.
I think some people it just skeeves them out to the point where they can't take it. What was the emergency situation? 844-999-OLA. Epic story, though.
Jesus. Believe it or not. Hello, Rachel. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola. Did you say hello to us last time I said hola, Rachel?
Yes,
I'm not sure that I've ever had 2 Rachels there, and I'm like, well, one of them's talking to no one. Mm-hmm. Well, welcome to the show.
Yep, that was me.
Okay.
Thank you. So my emergency was my husband and I went over to our friend's house, and his house, they have junk cars everywhere. So we were bored one day, and we decided that we wanted to flip one of the cars over onto its roof, because why not? And this car didn't have any tires on it. So we get a high-lift jack, because those high-lift jacks, they'll jack something up to about chest height. So we were jacking this car up. We got it to about chest height, and the 3 of us decided we were going to push it the rest of the way over.
By the way, Robin is guessing you're white.
Yes.
I'm saying, oh, and you're not Jewish?
No.
Oh,
I don't know how Robin does it. That was a good guess, Rob.
Okay.
I would not have guessed.
I was going on the Hebrew side.
Based on what I've heard in the story, I never would have guessed that.
Saul, Joel, Josh, all grab the...
Yeah. But please continue.
I'll grab the Lexus. Pushed it over.
So we get this car. The three of us get underneath of it, and we start to lift up, and we get the car to where all three of our arms is fully extended, but the car still isn't at its tipping point. It's not going to go over to its roof.
Rachel, what kind of car is this, by the way? Do you know the make or model of the car?
Yeah, it was like a Honda Accord.
All right, so it's a bigger car.
And it didn't have any tires, but it still had like the motor and transmission and stuff in it.
It was the biggest car they made.
Yeah. So we realized once our arms are fully extended that it's not going to tip over. So we have to drop it back down onto where the wheels would have been. So we say on the count of three, we're all going to push back and step back so the car can fall back down. So 1, 2, 3. Wait,
is this on three and then a pause, or
right.
is this on the three?
I want to be very
hard
clear.
Three, like 1, 2, 3, boom, or is it 1, 2, boom? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the worse the idea, the more important
1, 3.
it is. Okay, all right.
Okay.
And then what happened?
So my husband and I, we stepped back, and our friend, he slipped on some mud. So he went to step back, but he slipped, and his legs went right underneath the car. And the car came down, landed on his legs, and because there's no tire, it was crushing his legs.
Okay, so he's not happy.
Yeah, and with high-lift jacks, they're kind of finicky. They take a while to...
Is that what you told them?
What a time to be finicky.
But they're kind of finicky.
Did he end up being... We have to go to break. Did he end up being okay?
Yes.
Okay.
His legs. He still has his legs.
Do they work?
Do they work? Do his legs work?
Yeah, we lifted the car up, rushed him to the hospital. He had some torn ligaments, and
wow, he's lucky.
Now he's fine. He walks.
Okay, all right, amazing. Good times, Rachel.
Yeah.
What do you do this weekend? What was the emergency situation? 844-999. More of your calls coming up. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bitches. You're listening to the Men's Room.
Coming up, the exciting return of Ted versus the FCC. Don't forget, you can play You versus the FCC when you download our Men's Room app there. It's brand new. It's absolutely free. It's got all kinds of cool stuff on there. As our question, what was the emergency situation? We get this from the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
And the article is, survive in style with this $995 emergency kit.
I'm sorry?
The Prepster Advanced Backpack is...
Survive in style.
Yes, with this $995 emergency kit. This Prepster Advanced Backpack is filled with rugged technology, emergency necessities, and creature comforts in a smart smart bet against a not-so-bright future. Here goes the article. This could only...
A smart bet on a not-so-bright future.
Listen to this, all right? This is the story by Joe Weeks. When a minor earthquake hit Los Angeles in 2014, filmmaker Ryan Coolman and costume designer Lauren Tafuri realized they were spectacularly ill-equipped for an actual disaster.
Spectacular.
This isn't like Ronnie down at the Chevron and, Tammy who works at Walmart. This article's like, filmmaker Ryan Coolman and costume designer Lauren Tafuri. Yes, they were not equipped. They were living in... That's just California. You know what I mean? That's just day-to-day California. If it was a 2.5, what would an 8.0 look like? Because they had a 2.5. While stocking up on emergency goods, they both discovered that the available options were neither easy to find nor aesthetically pleasing.
And that's most important. In a survival situation, I believe, your aesthetic.
So they founded a company called Preppy, a supplier of curated emergency kits to make preparedness intuitively easy and easy on the eyes. They will be shipping them out come here the summertime. If you're interested,
No.
Yes.
No.
You can get one.
Aesthetically pleasing.
The bag is cut from aluminized twill, a fabric commonly found in firefighting suits. A folding solar panel and a hand charger will keep your devices operational through extended blackouts.
Great.
So there's a big sheet in there, basically, that is a folding solar panel that you can put out so you can charge your phone, find out what's going on. Not a bad idea there. Also included playing cards and a stainless steel flask.
Okay. Tell me more.
As much as I make fun of this early on, so far
it's getting better.
Okay,
it's getting better.
The flask will alleviate boredom until help arrives, or you rebuild society. The flask is shipped empty. Apparently, you need to fill the flask with your favorite beverage. A first aid kit is also included in stock with more than 100 items. This is really where you're spending the most majority of your money. Bandages, antiseptic, towelettes, hand wipes, antibiotic ointments,
stuff?
aspirin. No.
Hooks, stethoscope, surgery equipment.
The bag does contain enough food, including freeze-dried ice cream sandwiches and water to sustain one adult for 3 days, depending on their rationing skills. Luxuries include Mast Brothers dark chocolate and Kusmi tea and a Malin and Goetz kit with vitamin E face moisturizer to soothe potential radiation burns. This is fantastic. I have to get one. What was the emergency situation? 844-999-OLA.
Do you have vitamin E? My face is peeling.
I'd be just so afraid I would break into it in a non-emergency just to have a great time, you know.
So like a gift bag at the Grammys.
Right.
Hello, Brian. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right, guys. So my story takes place out in like BFE Spokane. I'm talking, we lost service for our cell phone 2.5 hours before we reached our cabin.
Okay, what happened?
So yeah, we're going out.
We call that horror movie territory, by the way. That's very important. That's horror movie territory.
Horror.
Exactly.
Horror movie territory.
Not what you're thinking.
Very important that your cell phone be dead.
What? No, none of that out there.
Yeah, we only had one person who had Verizon who got service if they stood on top of the chairs specifically and got one bar and they could call someone.
Okay. So what happened?
So, yeah, this is the first day of a week-long trip, and...
just hold on for a second. We have to let our stations identify themselves, but we'll give you more time when we just do that in a second. Still to come, the bad jokes. By the way, email those bad jokes to us at the men's room at mensroomlive.com. We'll read the bad jokes as Ryan Castle, the drunk in charge, comes in to kick off bad jokes right before we drink and toast with the shot of the day.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.